Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Hazard formally welcomed its new police chief yesterday as the department turns a new leaf. Plus, schools are dealing with flu and more as respiratory illnesses surge.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, Mountain family. My name is Amelia Lee, here with you on this Tuesday, February 11th, and we are at 6:30 on the dot this morning, which means it is time to check on in with meteorologist Megan Dusmal for a look at the forecast this morning. Megan, we are in that first alert weather day. We've been talking about that snow and that rain. What are the roads looking like today, and what can folks expect? I mean, it's nearing time to head to work this morning.
Yes, as you're heading out on the road this morning, we are seeing that heavy rain and heavy snow, which is making that visibility already hard. But in areas where we're seeing the heavy snow, you could see some bit of sticking on those roads. Just something to be aware of as you are driving this morning. The good news is we've had pretty warm weather this week, so for the most part, those roads aren't too cold. However, as we are going through the rest of your day, you'll continue to see temperatures to warm up. So there's another piece of good news. You'll have those temperatures warm up. We'll see that transition into those rain chances, and hopefully the roads won't be too bad, but still make sure you're being careful if you are heading out this morning. Here are those temperatures looking very cold, especially as you're traveling to those areas that have the snow at that freezing mark. But below that freezing mark, where you're seeing rain, already looking in the mid to upper 30s, 38 for Middlesboro. High temperatures for today will be in the upper 30s and low 40s. Seeing mid 40s as you're traveling towards Jacksboro. That's when we'll see those temperatures, those chances for precipitation transition into the rain with those temperatures. Not going to look too bad as you're heading into the evening and clearing out as we're heading into Wednesday morning before the next round of rain is on its way. Amelia.
Thank you, Megan. While some folks are dealing with another winter storm this morning while still recovering from ones last month. Residents in Rockcastle County are also still cleaning up from an EF1 tornado that touched down last week. County officials say while they are prepping their trucks for more winter weather, they're also taking into account possible heavy rain on the forecast. Regardless of what happens, they know their crews will be busy.
If we get that abundance of rain, we'll probably be right back fixing the roads back, and just ask everybody to have patience with us. We will get to them.
County officials tell us they have already used a year's worth of salt in about a month's time, but say their shed is full again and ready for more winter weather. Well, the city of Hazard's new police chief was formally introduced yesterday morning. The former Hazard police chief, Darren Williams, was fired in December following 2 lawsuits against him last year. I was able to speak with Zach Miller about his new role. Zach Miller is the new police chief for the Hazard Police Department. He has a love for police work, growing up watching his dad serve, and then joining the force himself 15 years ago.
When I was just a kid trying to get my foot in some time a law enforcement career. And I was fortunate enough to be hired on that day and hit the ground running. And that's exactly what I'm going to do as the police chief, hit the ground running.
Miller says he does not want the department to forget where it came from, even as he looks for ways to help it continue moving forward.
I'm dedicated to serving the community, and I'm dedicated to having the department really be the premier department in Eastern Kentucky.
He wants to prioritize safety and trust within the city of Hazard.
Getting out, speaking with the kids, speaking with the people who are outside mowing their lawn, watering their flowers. I mean, just being a community-oriented department.
Folks gathered at Hazard City Hall to meet with Miller, saying they are excited for the future of the department.
We want very active community policing. I think that's a big plus for living in the city of Hazard.
Miller says his main focus is to make the department the professional standard of law enforcement. He says he has an open door policy, which means folks can come to the police station to meet him and ask him questions. Well, Governor Andy Beshear recently announced Kentucky saw the first death of a child to the flu this season. East Perry Elementary officials say they mostly see strep and flu type A. They're prioritizing thoroughly cleaning hallways and classrooms and teaching kids the importance of washing their hands. They believe they have the resources available to keep classes in session.
That way, parents don't have to worry about coming to pick up the kids and taking them out of school. They can just see a provider while they're here at school with us.
East Perry offers telehealth to students through the primary care center. This helps with both parents' schedules and the number of absences in the schools. The provider is able to prescribe students with the appropriate medication and care with parents' consent. It's encouraged that you keep your kids home if they feel sick or are running a fever. Nationwide, flu cases are also surging here in the States. The latest information from the CDC shows doctor visits for flu illnesses have reached the highest level since 2009. The CDC says this season, an estimated 13,000 people have died from influenza. On CBS Mornings, Dr. John LaPook stressed that in any given year, up to 41 million people can get the flu, and more than 50,000 people could die from the virus.
If you have some sorts of symptoms, how do you know if it's the flu versus just common cold?
Well, you know, in general, the cold symptoms are from the neck and above. You know, the sore throat, the cough, the runny nose, and all that stuff. Once it starts going below the necks and you feel aches and pains and fever, you can have nausea, vomiting.
Dr. LaPook says it's still not too late to get a flu shot. And if you come down with the flu, he advises asking your doctor about the medication Tamiflu as soon as possible. The National Football League is making headway in fighting against head injuries. Collisions can trigger much more than a headache. To make the game safer, the league is enacting new rules, encouraging more player awareness of the dangers and implementing better technology. Dr. John LaPook has more.
In the AFC Championship, Buffalo Bills cornerback Christian Benford was sidelined after suffering a concussion. In this year's Super Bowl, Philadelphia star offensive tackle Jordan Mailata was trying to avoid the same fate.
The headbutts are common. They're going to happen. It's what happens in the trenches.
He's hoping a new generation of helmets helps keep him in the game. As chief medical officer for the NFL, neurosurgeon Dr. Alan Sills helps lead the effort to reduce concussions.
Some of the most common symptoms we see are headache or disorientation, perhaps problem with memory. In rare instances, people can lose consciousness.
In 2015, the league began teaming up with helmet manufacturers to try to build safer equipment.
I think if you look at a helmet from, say, 20 years ago and compare it to today's helmet, there's several major changes. We have materials that do a better job at absorbing force and not transmitting that force to the brain. We've got better padding inside there. It's placed strategically within the helmet in different places, based again on where we expect force to occur and how we want to minimize that force.
Aside from improving equipment, the NFL has tried to decrease concussions by increasing player awareness and by changing certain rules. For example, by starting teams closer to each other and farther downfield on kickoffs to lower the odds of high-speed collisions. In 2024, there were 182 concussions during practices and regular season games, a 17% drop compared to the previous season. Neurologist Dr. Ann McKee is a pioneer in research showing blows to the head, even ones that don't cause concussions, can cause chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, leading to dementia.
What do you think of the new helmets?
Looks like they have a lowered concussion rate, which is terrific news. Lowering the number of concussions, that means that the player is experiencing fewer hits. CTE risk is directly associated with number of playing years, how many hits you get, and how hard those hits are.
Dr. Sills agrees on the goal of minimizing any head trauma.
There is no concussion-proof helmet. Think of the helmets the way we do the airbags in our car or the anti-lock brakes. The best way to not get injured is to stay out of a crash in the first place.
A tough challenge in a sport where high-speed collisions are part of the fabric of the game. Dr. John LaPook, CBS News, New York.
Dr. McKee says she supports changing how kids practice and play and raising the age at which kids can start contact football.
We've got a viewer photo from Hazel Kilburn in Paintsville. You can already see there's just a little bit of accumulation this morning. We'll continue to watch accumulation as we're going through the next couple of hours. Now we will transition into that rain as those temperatures warm up. But as of right now, current temperatures are on the colder side of things, especially as you're traveling north of Hazard. We're looking 32 or below, seeing some 20s pop out. But as you're traveling more towards Tennessee, a little bit warmer. We're already seeing the mid 30s, 36 for Jacksboro, and upper 30s in Middlesboro at 38 degrees. As we head into the afternoon, we'll see temperatures all above freezing, looking in the upper 30s and low 40s. That's when we'll see that fully transition into rain as we're heading into the evening and overnight hours, getting a little bit of a break as we're heading into Wednesday morning. On the way to the bus stop, here's what you can expect. 31 degrees on the way to school, looking at that snow, or as you're traveling more towards the south, that rain chance. And by the time you're heading home, looking at 40 degrees, most places seeing that rain. Amelia.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you for joining us at 6:40. Still to come on Mountain News this morning. Plastic straws are making a comeback under the latest move from the new Trump administration, with mixed reactions from environmentalists.